We're live. Good morning.
Hey!
Hey,
The
happy
button
Sunday.
works.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Speaker's Corner. This is one of your
Yes.
illustrious
Yes.
hosts, Jeff Wheeler. I'm here under the shadow of the Gold Dome, but it's really not very shadowy because it's kind of rainy outside. But I will tell you something, a man that is not afraid of the rain. He will go
No.
and run and bike and be exercise-alific every Sunday morning, and he will bring his energy here to you. That's Tom Holm. Welcome, Tom Holm.
So glad to be here.
Oh, and I'm so glad to have you here. We are here to discuss the things that we want to talk about, which really has nothing to do with you, our audience. But we are here to say what we have to say until our audience brings to us those things that they want to talk about. We got a few emails this week, and some of those things are going to be in our topic list today. So I just want to encourage everyone who does watch to feel free to reach out and bring us your topics. Bring us your tired, your weak, your weary ideals that you might want to be discussed and brought to life here on the interwebs. Those tubes that bring us the information, that bring us the data, that bring us the things that we may want to know, whether we want to know them or not.
Also, feel free to send us hate mail. Just make sure you send it through spell check first, because I really have trouble reading sometimes some of your I appreciate a good troll every once in a while.
That is
but
true.
I love
as
a troll
long as
that-
it's well spelled. As long as it is well
Precisely.
spelled. Yeah.
Precisely.
Because
Grammar,
there's
I'll
nobody.
let slide, but
There's nobody who likes bad grammar in a flame.
exactly.
So speaking of, let us. I forgot to mention, Tom is from the illustrious metropolis that is our country's greatest city. Well, I don't know about greatest, but largest for certain. Arguably our country's greatest city. Definitely our country's largest city, New York, New York. In the borough of Queens.
Queens.
Where the kings live. Queens 10K. Did you just run that this morning?
No, I just ran in the shirt.
Gotcha. Speaking of, a friend of both of ours is running in the Boston, and I would like to pay homage to our friend CL, who I don't know if she wants her name on the internet here, but she was a Boston qualifier, and she has qualified and is currently running the Boston Marathon. I wish her luck, and I told her she needs to beat 5 hours. She then laughed.
Well, I don't think she's technically running it now.
Oh.
I believe it's tomorrow.
Oh, is it? It's on Monday?
I believe it. I always forget to keep reminding me that it's always on a Monday. So, are you confirming this?
I'm currently looking. Boston Marathon weekend, which is happening right now. Event information.
Ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum. Ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum. Ba-dum, bum, 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 bum,
I have absolutely no idea what time this is. I'm not a very good web browser.
Monday, April 20th.
Monday, April 20th. Well, there you go. She will be running this race tomorrow. So all of our well wishes go to her in her preparations, her carb loading, and the getting ready. She doesn't stretch, so don't stretch. Just run. There you go.
I don't stretch.
You don't stretch?
He doesn't stretch?
Nope.
Yeah, usually stretching is better for when distance running. It's really kind of better for afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Really. Yeah, you can do some things to just kind of get
limbered
things
up,
flowing, up. But yeah, you don't want to be doing like, seated stretches and things like that necessarily. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's multiple schools of thought, but don't listen to us. I'm not a professional runner.
You only get paid for it.
We'll have Jody on as a special guest to tell us.
Yeah.
Someday about
she'll return. Excuse me, she'll be on. She'll return to the show.
Yeah, we're gonna probably have to give her a larger stipend next time to get her to
that's correct. Right, that is true. So speaking of a stipend, there's somebody and doctors. There is somebody in the news this past week that I wanted to bring to your attention that I thought was hilarious. The doctor. It is not Dr. Doom. It is the doctor named after the Yellow Brick Road, Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz was in the news this past week because he went on Twitter and said, "Hey, Dr. Oz here. Love to answer any questions that you folks out there in Twitterland would love to join it or would love to chime in on. I'd love to answer any of them." And so then Twitter blows up with people asking, "Hey, how come you're such a quack? Hey, have you ever had an entire 5-minute spiel on television where you didn't have a miracle cure or a detox about something?" And then there's another guy that chimes in with, "Hey, Dr. Oz, I think I got some toxins from the last detox you gave me. Do you have a detox for the detox that I have, for the toxins from the detoxins," and then yada yada. And it was just an absolute berating on Twitter if you read the entire thing. Now, if you were, one of his faithful, you wouldn't have seen all of that stuff. You'd have to look up the hashtag. Yeah. But it is absolutely hilarious.
Can we put a moratorium? I don't understand how PR. I mean, I sort of understand how PR should work. I don't understand, because obviously it's not Dr. Oz running the Twitter. I sure as hell hope it isn't. I hope it's one of his minions. But it's the same thing with, I don't understand when the DNC says, "We want to hear from you. What are your things?" Or when Republican, Ron Paul writes, "Tell me your thoughts about." That's just asking for the peanut gallery to just start throwing things at you.
It's like, please flame me. So if you want to look up the hashtag, it's hashtag OZSinbox. Oz's inbox, right? And let me read them verbatim here. "Dear @Dr. Oz, is quackery a miracle weight loss cure? Something tells me your walls are going to get a lot lighter without your license." "Dr. Oz, what's your favorite snake oil? And how do you sleep at night?" And then here's a doctor, Dr. Sunil Sakai. "Why have you not been censored or fired from @Columbia Surgery for conduct unbecoming a physician, scientist, and gentleman?"
Yeah.
"What's been your most profitable lie for money so far?" Hashtag OzInbox. "How do I get..." here's another doctor that says, "How do I get my patients to stop believing your bull?" Hashtag OzInbox. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, if you're getting your medical advice from a TV personality who was handpicked and groomed by Oprah, hallowed be her name.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to. Consulting Doc Oz on his hour-long program is 10 times worse than Googling your symptoms and being convinced you have the cancer.
That's right. I know somebody who recently went to a doctor, and they gave some tests for them to take a look at and figure out what's wrong. But the point that they wouldn't tell the patient what it was that was wrong, and the patient's like, "Well, why wouldn't you tell me what you're testing for?" And the doctor replies, "Well, then you're just going to Google it and tell me why you have whatever it is that I'm testing for." So he goes, "I need an unbiased, question about what's going on."
Double blind. Oh, that's a painful reality.
It is a painful reality. It is real, but it is a painful reality.
You know what's also a painful reality?
Please.
And this is things that piss Tom off that shouldn't piss him off, but it does. So, the internet blew up on, I believe it was Thursday.
The internet keeps blowing up. It keeps
blowing up. It's amazing.
It has more explosives than anything.
It's like it's better than Transformers 4. It's amazing. But it blew up on Thursday with the second teaser from the Star Wars film.
Okay.
Which I will personally admit to having watched. I probably watched the trailer 6 or 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
I've even watched videos of people's reactions watching the trailer.
Oh, wow.
I'm a little obsessed. I was blown away. I said, yes, okay, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling something in my pants. This is exciting. So, on the tails of that, because it was leaked. It was partially leaked from, like, I guess a film screening in Portugal, the very end of the Batman v Superman trailer, which they were planning to release Monday, but I guess after the Star Wars hoopla and the leaked ending of the trailer from a handheld camera in Portugal or Brazil, it was in Portuguese, they released the trailer on Friday.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people, some people seem to like it, but I'm of the opinion that it looks god-awful. It looks awful,
Really?
and it is more, looking at this trailer, it's a teaser again, but looking at this Batman v Superman trailer, it looks like it's more Frank Miller handjobs.
Oh, yeah.
Done. For those of you who are not well-versed, Frank Miller was a comic book artist and writer, still is. He's lost his mind, gone completely insane in his later years. Not literally, but figuratively, he just seems to be insane. And so he kind of was involved in the whole Dark Knight rebranding launch in the 90s and early aughts, and so many people are obsessed with him, love him, worship at his altar, and Zack Snyder obviously does. And the movie looks like it belongs in the last decade. It doesn't look like a 2015 or is it coming in 2015 or 2016? 2016 superhero film. It's dark and brooding, and I'm just tired of that. Because we all know that the Avengers was very lighthearted and action-oriented, and it totally bombed, right? It was made no money. Oh, it made money.
You gotta go dark. Oh. You gotta go dark.
Yeah, you gotta go dark.
Really want to? Well, but if you wanna get your geek cred, you gotta go dark.
No, you don't.
So dark.
I'm sorry. No, because I read the books. I spend an ungodly amount each month on comic books, and I'm tired of this brooding. No, this is for backwards baseball cap turning bros who can high five and go, "That was awesome, man."
Well, not even really. I mean, it's just too dystopian. That's not what superheroes are about. Superheroes are about the wonder in the world, and there's too much dark in our world. Superheroes are supposed to be the
bringers of light
of that. It's supposed to be the opposite of this world that we have that's so beats you down in so many ways, and most of the geeks and the freaks that have always loved this now have something to rally behind. But in these dark movies about superheroes, it's too serious. It's not what it's there to do, in my opinion.
It's lost the fun, because if you go back to Superman 1, Superman 2, yeah, there's some darkness to Superman 2.
But it's moments.
But it's also, there's playfulness. There's some fun, because he's Superman. He's not supposed to be emo. It's not emo man,
right?
Versus goth boy, right? It's Batman v Superman.
And then what's up with the Batman wearing the Iron Man suit?
Well, I've been trying to look that up because I remember that's from I believe it's from an Elseworlds story where Batman did defeat Superman, but he had to wear like kind of a battle suit armor to match his strength. Because obviously Batman, it's just a regular dude with gadgets.
Right.
So he has to have some kind of battle suit to match up, but it's going to be weak. I don't understand why they have to have them face off.
Yep.
Physically, why can't they? Batman's supposed to be Batman is the greatest detective of all time, or was, and everyone seems to have forgotten about that in the DC universe. Why can't it be Batman's brains against Superman's brawn and courage? But no.
Wow, that's a much better movie.
It's a much better movie.
Would you like to write this screenplay with me?
I'm done. No, because not Marvel, Warner Brothers, which owns the DC.
I know.
Because again, I'm going to close this out because I know Michelle would be saying wrap it up. The one DC title right now that's on screen that I enjoy and I think is doing a good job is the Arrow/Flash universe on television. And the reason why is, yes, it's mostly filmed at night, so it's dark, but there's humor. Mm-hmm. They make jokes. They kind of laugh at each other, and you need that fun. Make it fun.
You do.
Iron Man, Captain America, Avengers. The reason why those films are working is not necessarily because of the superiority of the characters, because I'm sorry, Superman and Batman are still always going to be better,
right?
Populous, but because the movies are fun.
Yep. because they understand what the movie's supposed to do, and they're supposed to be escapist. That's the point.
Exactly.
That's the point. So speaking of the escapist world, I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit before we come back. And Nippon Airways released the fact that they are going to be painting one of their jets as if it was R2-D2.
Get out.
The whole front of it, you know how there's kind of that round nose, is going to be the head of R2-D2. That's exactly right. How cool would that be? You walk onto the airplane and it makes that noise.
I want my stewardesses dressed like C-3PO. Flight attendants, excuse me.
Or even better, have because there's people who make these R2-D2s, and you have an R2-D2 that takes your drinks up and down the aisle. Oh God! Problem is that each one of them weighs like 1,000 pounds because they have to have these really expensive, these really heavy batteries to be able to do the thing, et cetera, et cetera. But it's awesome. Have you ever had a chance to go to a geek convention where they show you how to make them? It's awesome.
Going back to the plane, I want also when the pilot comes in your comedy, be like, you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is your pilot Solo. I'm in command and second officer Chewie Gomez. Do it, Nippon Airlines. That would be awesome.
It would be absolutely epic. Okay, so then let's go to an actual piece of meat here. Okay,
yeah.
We on our backstage conversation, which we have all week, all the time, it came up as the end of brick and mortar. Is there an end in sight to the brick and mortar store that we know and love and have been using as a place of commerce since really cities formed, right? So the brick and mortar store where a producer would locate their goods and services at a storefront where people would then go view, play with, and figure whether or not they wanted these things back from the blacksmith days, back from probably ancient Mesopotamia where you had to sell your clay pots. You would create a storefront in the front of where you'd make all of your stuff, right? And so those have over time have morphed, and now there's a separate retail space completely separate from the production space. So you no longer go to the factory and there's a storefront in the beginning and the front of the factory because the factories are way far away. But in general, most goods and services that consumers consume, they go to some sort of retail space. And they actually purchase the thing from the retail space. That is what it had been. In more recent days, the pricing model of the internet allows you to sell the same widgets for a much reduced rate, sometimes 1 or 2%, sometimes 5, 10, 15% less if you sell these things on the internet. Are we approaching a post brick and mortar as the standard, as the gold standard for goods exchange? Go. Or do you want me to espouse what I espoused earlier this week?
No, we can. Well, you can start with.
I'll let you start.
Yeah, it's to explain the conversation was there was the green room conversation we had was on the combination of what was it, Office Depot and Office Max were
Office Depot, Office Max have already merged,
and then
Staples is now going to be merging, and they're going to have the Boy Scout together.
Sorry, no, I'm looking at my.
Are you looking for bad jokes? Because
no,
I have
no. I'm just making sure. My mic's not hot. Am I hot?
No, you're good.
Do I sound okay? Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like discussing, and then even then, Staples are closing, and in Manhattan, we've lost over the last few years Staples to the point where they're near and far between. Here's where. I'm sorry to answer your question.
No,
yes,
okay.
I think we are approaching a new, not completely felt out world. I don't believe the brick and mortars are going to completely disappear. I don't think they can. Because as much as you and I do so much of our commerce online, and our businesses do so much of their consuming of items online. I don't want to pretend that that's the reality for the majority. I don't think it's the reality for majority. I think the majority still do frequent these shops. Is it diminishing? Yes. Do I think we're approaching a new existence? Yes. What it's going to be, I don't know.
Right.
So here's where we start to your feelings.
So I guess our swap was that I believed that Office Depot and Office Max combined because they were getting too much competition from the internets, right? And then the third major office supplies store, which was Staples, having lots of overlapping product groups, has merged with them because there's not enough space in this world for people to sell pens, pencils, paper, and ink, because you can get it online so readily, right? And so I am trying to wrap my head around, why do we need a warehouse for garbage cans, office chairs, paper and ink cartridges that you walk into, view the paper, which is really honestly a commodity, right? But they created this business model starting in the 80s and really boomed through the 90s in this, well, everybody's getting together in this office and we can get this stuff at a discount price, and it really works well because we're going to this warehouse place for Staples or Office Depot or whatever. And so they really kind of won quite a bit in that space. But I think in our current model, it doesn't work for an office to have somebody drive up to the Staples to pick up our weekly supplies of staples and paper and coffee and all these things that they used to do. It's just not the right way to do it. You just place an order online and it shows up the next day, then nobody leaves, and you can get a better price for what it is that you're doing.
Two things right there. First off, you're imagining that in an ideal world, oh, I ran out of X. I need it replaced. I will just order it and it'll be here tomorrow. Whereas, what if it's, I ran out of X, this is suddenly shutting down everything I'm doing, and I did not buy a backup cartridge. Let's be less abstract. I ran out of ink for my large format printer.
Right.
I can go to Amazon and order it through Prime and get it, free shipping and buy the knockoff and have it here in 2 days.
Yep.
But that's 2 days where I can't print on the large format printer because the office assistant forgot to keep it stocked.
Right.
So,
which is a real concern.
It's a real
concern.
Really happens. So I feel like until we maybe it's the brick and mortar disappears and that eventually conditions businesses to constantly be on top of their stock better.
Well, but let's think through that for a second. So Amazon is attempting to attack that problem specifically in San Francisco with same-day delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Same-day delivery, okay? So we produce things at the place that I work every day. And we have a couple of suppliers, one of them named McMaster Car. And McMaster Car has an Atlanta warehouse, and they do same-day delivery. You go on an internet site, and you say, I need 6 3-inch bolts, and I need 4 washers, and I need 12 feet of tubing. And it shows up. You order it by 11 a.m., and it shows up by 2 p.m.
What's the markup?
It's not cheaper than other things, but it's about the same as finding it from other places who typically are 2-day shipping. And they just have a courier that's what his job is to stick it in the back of a minivan and just drive around and deliver stuff all day long. And that's going back to an old model, right? In the way back days, in industry, that was very common. Well, but I'm saying in the 30s and 40s and 50s, that was a very common model, is that you would have a sales guy that sat in the office, and he would go, and that distributor would go to the 3 different factories in town that made the 3 different things you needed, pick them up from their warehouse, and drop them off at your factory so that you'd have it to be functional. And Amazon's trying to do that in the consumer space. So I don't think it's a new idea, but I think applying it to the breadth of people is a new idea. And the moment that Amazon can do same-day delivery in 6 major markets, right? So if they can do same-day delivery in New York, LA, Chicago, probably Atlanta, some of these major markets, then all of a sudden you are able to get in those main office places people that don't need an Office Depot and Office Max, especially if Amazon's able to do those with drones, which they're talking about doing. Right? And so then at that point, if you can have it same day delivered, why would you have an employee drive out to a place to do it?
Sure.
The moment you can get same day delivery, the whole business, the whole benefit of 90% of the business that Staples and Office Depot and Office Max do is gone. Staples, Office Depot, and Office Max are now online retailers that have distribution points in your local neighborhood. And if they have a driver and they have a delivery guy, then their infrastructure works good. But the problem is then they got to have a lot of stuff in a lot of storerooms in a lot of places that are closer than they really need to. So they close half their stores.
Now, so obviously this makes, I kind of want to maybe ask one more concept on this, which is, so this obviously applies to electronic goods.
Okay.
It applies to, I'm thinking of like the kind of outlet, the stores. It applies to office supplies, papers, pens, inks, toner, whatever. It even applies to books and music.
Right.
We've seen media where people are more willing to consume online rather than go in and pick it up. I'm almost like I'm trying to think of the brick and mortars that will continue.
That can't go away. Well, fashion, right? So anything that has to do with clothes.
Unless more fashion people approach the Zappos concept, which is, Zappos lets you buy, or like they'll ship you, the shoe in 2 different sizes, and then you just ship back when you don't. So that could possibly work.
So imagine, if you will, a Victoria's Secret that you didn't actually have a store to go into.
I don't want people shipping their underwear back if they don't. I don't want my Calvin Klein underwear that it's refurbished boxer briefs. No. I'm not buying refurbished.
You know a good percentage of those are actually refurbished. There's a Chinaman at the end of the line that just goes, "I'm trying these on. I'm trying these on. I'm trying these on."
You just not use that word. What are you, 19th century, my friend? Come on.
Chinaman? Is that not a thing anymore?
No, that hasn't been a thing in 50 years.
I love how you keep me abreast.
I try to, but apparently it doesn't work.
But my concept is that we would do better as a level of commerce. We would be more efficient if we could do showroom with delivery, right? So the Apple Store is not as much a place with stuff on the shelves. They're moving closer to the showroom model, right? Which is what car dealers kind of do and originally did. Although then everybody felt like, I needed to take it home today, so I want you to have a bunch of cars in the back lot. But Tesla has gone completely to the showroom model, and I think they've got it right.
But you can do that with a large ticket item, but like Bic pens can't have a showroom.
Well, if you can have same day delivery, you go, and if you're in New York and you go into a place that is 800 square feet and it has all the office supplies that you can pick through and look through and see what it is that you need, you place your order in that store and it shows up at your office or your home in 4 hours. Do you care?
So wait, I'm walking into And
think about how much more awesome that would be if you went into even a grocer. Let's go grocer.
So wait, go back. So you're saying I walk into a Staples, a futuristic Staples, where they basically have one of each item.
Basically.
Like in each color or whatever, so I can like pick up the pen, examine it, feel it, go like, okay, and then I'll
say,
these. So you're saying the store doesn't need basement storage or backspace. It just literally becomes a showroom. I'm still ordering from Staples, but then they're shipping from the warehouse in Jersey if I'm in New York.
That's right. That's right. And it's same day delivery with some sort of courier that shows up at your house. Then you don't have to carry your stuff.
You don't have to carry. That's a sexy and smart model. Okay,
It is. And that's my thought. That's my thought, right? So then you do the same thing with groceries. Think about groceries. If they did home delivery of you, who's in New York,
they already do that.
Well, but I'm saying you go to a showroom.
See, but picking up a pen, going, I like this pen, is different than picking up an apple and going, I like this apple.
Right, but
I'd like to order 10 apples. And then no.
But going to the thing is grocery stores can't be big enough. So if you say that there is a bodega that is associated with Walmart groceries, right? But it's the size of a bodega, and it has your fresh fruits and vegetables there, but all of your canned goods, all of your hard goods, things that have shelf life on them, pasta and milk and soda and all that stuff that's a pain in the ass to carry around, right? Are on same day order. So you walk in there and you say, I want 3 boxes of falafel pasta, I want 2 cases of Coca-Cola, and I want a gallon of milk. And they say, that'll be there in an hour. And they literally just have couriers that are sitting at the warehouse that's 5 miles away in an industrial park that nobody actually wants to go to.
Right.
Has terrible train service, but they have a small store of 800, 1,000 square feet that's right around the corner.
Make it so. Make it so.
Tell me that's not a great model.
That could work.
Because then how much pain in the ass would that remove on you trying to schlep your groceries through the train and everything else to get back to your house? Or buying the higher priced, less quality product that you sometimes find in a bodega.
Mm-hmm.
Because oftentimes you have to compromise what product you'd want to buy. Because they're not going to have organic products when you go to your bodega around the corner. You're not going to find organic eggs. You're going to find Joe Schmo eggs, right?
That's an actual brand, Joe Schmo egg.
No, come on. Shut the front door. Is it really?
No. I'm sure it is actually now.
So you're on with me. The end of brick and mortar is coming. And we're going to do showrooms
but
most everything.
But I think what you're describing is it's not the end of brick and mortar, it's the evolution of brick and mortar.
Okay.
Which I think is a much more interesting and kind of like thing. Because I think
it
the
is
end
a
of brick
showroom
and mortar,
and distributor model, right?
Yeah.
So the showroom gives you the stuff and makes you feel good about what it is and all this kind of shit, right?
Well, lets you touch it. Lets you
touch it and feel it and whatever.
Yeah.
Go into a bookstore and they only have one of every book.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And all the other ones ship to your house. Every book ships to your house. You can now thumb through it, and they don't have to worry about their quality of their books going down, right? And there you go. And then they can have a larger supply of options because they don't
might be a little bit hard because now you're all waiting and you have a line 10 deep to pick up the new J.K. Rowling novel. Like,
why would you have a line 10 deep?
Because if there's only one to pick it up and look at it.
Fair enough.
It's got to be a little bit like it's got to be like the
old VHS store.
VHS store where you can pick the car. It might not be there. You pick up. Oh, there's nothing behind. Damn.
Right.
Make it like that.
And as the old Blockbuster model, and the more popular it is, the more that are there, and then they can sell the ones that were on display 6 months later, whenever the popularity goes down, as used. Boom! Kick-a-laka.
The circle is complete.
So I think we have solved it, ladies and gentlemen. We have absolutely solved it.
Speaking of things that circle.
Yes.
Actually, 2 things that circle. We'll talk about something we skipped, and then we'll come back to my asshat.
Okay.
Something that circle is the circling of media hawks. Now that campaigns began, and the circling of the media around former Secretary Clinton, and who announced her campaign last weekend, as we here predicted. Remember,
that is correct.
You heard it here. We were calling that she was going to run, and the media circus that has already begun.
Yes.
I love that they cut short, Mark Rubio's, covering Mark Rubio's, announcement to cut to Hillary Clinton, who was hungry. And where did she go, Jeff? Where did she go for food?
She went to Chipotle.
Uh, and what happened?
She walked in and she got a burrito, and nobody had any idea who she was.
Which says two things. Which actually says one thing, really, to me. And I'm borrowing a joke, but it's a reality. You've been to a Chipotle, right?
I have been to Chipotle.
I've been to a Chipotle. Most of
it used to be a McDonald's property, but no longer.
Right. The Pope could walk in, and the people working Chipotle would barely look up because they'd be like, burrito or bowl? Next,
Moving on. Yeah.
Beans, yeah. It's so hot. Quality ingredients. I don't really care about your service. So I think if someone's gonna make a hoopla about, and no one knew it was her.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's Chipotle. They don't care who anyone is. It's all about move.
Yep. Keep it along, moving along. So right now we have 4 declared candidates. Can you name them all?
4 major.
4 major declared candidates.
Because as we said last week, there are over 100 and some odd.
Yes.
They are Rubio.
Yes.
Cruz.
Right, the first to declare.
Thank you. Secretary Clinton.
Yes.
And Rand Paul.
Correct. Or is she Senator Hillary Clinton?
What would you call? Her previous, former secretary.
I guess.
She said she has said, "Call me Hillary."
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess we can say Hillary.
Okay. So there's 4 candidates, and we had our promulgation a month ago was for 5.
Was that what we said? 5?
I think
3 before tax.
I thought it was 4 or 5 before tax day. And we're at tax day, and we have 4. So we'll go back in the archives, find out how many there really are. I thought Jeb Bush was going to come out already. I thought that Ben Carson was going to come out already. I thought Chris Christie was going to come out already, but none of these guys.
Christie's in danger. I know he's trying to revamp before, because I don't think he wants to announce in a weak position. And right now he's kind of people have already kind of pushed him to the side. So he's doing some activity now to try to revitalize the brand.
Right.
Because I think he wants to come out with a strong brand, and right now that ain't happening. So.
Yep. Okay, so that kind of shows us what we've got going on there. And this week in history. Is there a this week in history?
Oh, this week in history we will touch on. Today is the 20th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing. Just about.
Our hats go off to them.
A little over 2 hours ago would have marked the 20th anniversary of the bombing. I'm a little bit distressed that I feel like there hasn't been as much coverage as I would have expected. I have heard some pieces on public radio, but even there, it's been kind of like we'll touch on the anniversary and then move on. Whereas if this was note it for the archives, and I'm not belittling 9/11 nor inflating 4/19, but it would be a week-long.
Yep, vigil on every major network about how big it is and how important it is.
Yeah.
And is that a case of the flyover country versus the East Coast West Coast concept?
I absolutely think it is. I know the defenders will say, well, this was, it's the numbers, over 1,000 were killed, and and how visual it was, and I get that, I understand that, but the fact is, I feel like 168 people were killed by a group of angry Americans, which to me is just as frightening, because I'm totally aware that there are people abroad who want to kill here.
Correct.
It's when you suddenly have to fear the angry person here.
Yep, you have to fear your neighbor. You have to literally fear your neighbor.
And that's a scary thing.
It is.
It's a really scary thing.
Because it's a lot harder to feel like that's the enemy.
Right. You don't want to believe.
Right.
So I have emotional reactions to it because of that, because I feel like it sadly gets short-shrift. I remember a friend of mine in grad school who just, in the days following 9/11 in grad school, there was a professor who was talking and kind of saying, none of us, because we're Americans, none of us can really understand the impact of terrorism. And my friend, raised her hand. She's like, I'm from Tulsa. Or she's actually from Oklahoma City. I'm from Oklahoma. I totally understand. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It happened 6 years ago. Yeah.
And then it was half dismissive. Yeah.
Or it's just kind of like, ooh, biting knuckles. And I think it very well might be flyover.
Related, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I think it has a lot to do with it, and that part of the country is certainly an influential and important part of the country. But those folks tend to keep themselves. They don't tend to want to be on TV and talk about all that stuff, et cetera, et cetera.
They also have I will say they do have a very nice memorial.
Do they?
They do. I think it's a great. If you ever see it, it's where the building once stood is a kind of a grass field with iron pillars for each of the victims. It's really nicely done. Very tasteful. So that's this week in history. Sorry, it's a very kind of dark and somber one. $10
million upgrade to the OKC Memorial and Museum helps visitors mark the 20th anniversary. So there you go.
I should get out there someday.
We should have a moment of silence for those tragically lost in Oklahoma City. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so on to the next.
Yeah, we can't be
solemn the entire time.
Solemn and somber. So
a gem that if you are looking for something to brighten your days, I will brighten your entire week. Look up David Hasselhoff, and David Hasselhoff just released a new YouTube video, and it is called True Survivor. So look up David Hasselhoff, True Survivor on Vivo, which I think is a YouTube property. Is that correct?
I don't know if Vivo's owned or not. Yeah.
But in any case, David Hasselhoff releases a video called True Survivor, and it is literally the most 80s awesome video I have seen in quite a while. That is a gem, a blistering success of awesomeness, ridiculous awesomeness, but awesomeness nonetheless, that you can take throughout your week.
It's a bit of ridiculous awesomeness that you can take throughout the rest of the week.
What's that?
This show.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah.
So nice. I love the way you do that with your little hat on. Run for life. That's it, because when we stop running, we're dead. Manhattan Half Marathon. Wow.
I'm just flipping the bill.
Flip the bill.
For CL. Flip it, CL.
Flip it, CL. Okay, and is there we done things that piss Tom off that shouldn't? And do you have an ass hat this week?
Yeah, my ass hat was the guy who flew the gyrocopter into what it landed on the Capitol lawn.
Yeah.
I just call him an ass hat because there's it's the he was what was he protesting? He was protesting campaign finance reform.
Something silly, yes.
And it just was like I don't understand how your action fits what you're doing.
These things are not congruent. They don't work.
But more so, I want to call him an asshat because I've had to hear the word gyrocopter on the news for days now, and that word just annoys me.
Yeah.
So
yes.
I'm just calling him an asshat for double things. First off,
I thought it was an auto gyro.
Shut up. At least it wasn't a drone. That's another word that I don't want to hear for a while.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They're calling it a gyrocopter.
They are calling it a gyrocopter.
Oh, God. Maybe I should get myself a gyrocopter.
Well, that's what they were saying. Gyrocopter is this year's drone.
Oh, yeah?
Drones are so last year. Everybody wants a gyrocopter now.
Okay. There you go.
They can build one out of a lawnmower.
That could be awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yep. I'm going to do it.
And if Jeff builds one, we will find out next week.
We will find out about it next week here on the program, where you can think about all the things that we talked about, but you do not have to think about them the way that I think about them.
And you do not have to think about them the way that I think about them.
But we're going to ask you to come back and think about them the way you want to. And if you want more about this show, we will soon be releasing a webpage, WYATT.com. You can come and join the conversation there. We'll see you again next week. Cat, push the button.